by September 4th, and current lessees get this low mileage lease on this 2018 Cadillac XT5 from around $359 per month.
Tonight, the president responds after his own former fixer and personal attorney implicates him in a crime. The White House tonight saying there was no crime committed. And this evening, what the president now says about Michael Cohen and the cash paid to silence women after telling the American people from Air Force One he knew nothing about a payment. And tonight, Michael Cohen now signals he's ready to talk to the special counsel and not just about those payments. Also tonight, Molly Tibbetts accused killer in court. And this evening, the hours of surveillance they poured through and what they saw on that video that led them to the suspect. The major hurricane bearing down tonight, a state of emergency as the Category 4 storm now barrels toward the Hawaiian Islands. Winds of 155 miles per hour, and our team is right there. The stunning indictment tonight, the congressman and his wife now charged. Authorities say they spent thousands, $11,000 at Costco, their kids' tuition, and a trip to Italy. The ABC News exclusive tonight, our team from Afghanistan, taking us inside one of the most dangerous prisons in the world. Taliban prisoners, and tonight their message for America. And new fallout tonight, the actress who had been a major force in the Me Too movement, Asia Argento, was Anthony Bourdain's girlfriend. Tonight, this new image and the alleged text messages involving a 17-year-old boy.
This is ABC World News Tonight with David Muir.
Good evening, and it's great to have you with us here on a very busy Wednesday night. And we begin with the new fallout at this hour. The man who once said he would take a bullet for President Trump, now the one taking aim, implicating the president. Michael Cohen pleading guilty to 8 counts, including campaign finance violations, just before we came on the air last night. The president's former fixer telling the court he paid that hush money at the direction of then-candidate Trump. Well, tonight he's now signaling he's ready to talk to the special counsel about that and more. At the White House today, President Trump defiant, how he's now responding. And our Cecilia Vega asking the White House if Cohen pleaded guilty to these campaign finance violations and if the president directed him, as Cohen told the court, did the president commit a crime? Here's how they answered. Cecilia leading us off.
The White House today embattled and under fire. The president's former lawyer and fixer, the man who once said he would take a bullet for Donald Trump, now directly implicating the president in a crime. Under oath, Michael Cohen told a federal judge that in the lead up to the 2016 election, he paid off porn star Stormy Daniels in coordination with and at the direction of Donald Trump, knowing that her claim of an affair would be harmful to the candidate and the campaign. So today we asked, did President Trump commit a crime?
As the president said, we've stated many times, he did nothing wrong. There are no charges against him, and we've commented on this extensively.
There have been extensive comments, many of them conflicting and downright false. In April on Air Force One, the president denied knowing anything about the payoff to Daniels.
Did you know about the $130,000 payment to Stormy Daniels? Then why did Michael Cohen make this if there was no truth or allegation?
Well, you have to ask Michael Cohen. Michael's my attorney, and you'll have to ask Michael.
Do you know where he got the money to make that payment?
No, I don't know.
The president later admitted he had reimbursed Cohen for the hush money payment months earlier.
Can you stand here today and say the president has never lied to the American people? Because so many people now look back at that tape of him on Air Force One saying he knew nothing about these payments, when in fact we now know he knew everything about these payments. So has he lied?
Look, again, I think that's a ridiculous accusation. The president in this matter has done nothing wrong, and there are no charges against him.
Today on Twitter, the president falsely claimed that, quote, Michael Cohen pled guilty to 2 counts of campaign finance violations that are not a crime. They are indeed a crime, spelled out by federal prosecutors. And on Fox News, the president floating another defense.
Did you know about the payments?
Later on, I knew. Later on. But you have to understand, Ainsley, what he did, and they weren't taken out of campaign finance. That's a big thing. That's a much bigger thing. Did they come out of the campaign? They didn't come out of the campaign. They came from me.
But lawyers say that still doesn't make it legal if the money was never disclosed. And Cohen has released a secretly recorded conversation with the president, seeming to discuss another hush money arrangement weeks before the election.
When it comes time for the financing, which will be...
Listen, what financing?
We'll have to pay you. So no. I got no.
The president now blasting his one-time right-hand man, but publicly he has nothing but love for his former campaign chairman, Paul Manafort, convicted of defrauding the federal government and now facing life behind bars.
He would like to thank Judge Ellis for granting him a fair trial, thank the jury for their very long and hard-fought deliberations. He is evaluating all of his options at this point.
The president tweeting, "Feel very badly for Paul Manafort and his wonderful family. Unlike Michael Cohen, he refused to make up stories in order to get a deal. Such respect for a brave man."
Positive words there for Paul Manafort tonight. Cecilia Vega joined us from the White House. And Cecilia, President Trump refusing to rule out a pardon for Manafort.
David, so far he says he is not thinking about a pardon for Paul Manafort, but in a matter of weeks, Manafort goes back on trial facing a second set of charges, potentially even more time behind bars. So the pressure right now is on. Does he plead guilty as part of a deal for leniency, David, or does he hold out hope for a presidential pardon? We will soon find out.
All right, Cecilia Vega leading us off tonight. Cecilia, thank you. As I mentioned at the top, Michael Cohen is tonight signaling he's ready to talk to the special counsel, and not just about those payments. Michael Cohen's attorney is now suggesting Cohen is ready to talk about something else. Here's ABC's chief national affairs correspondent Tom Llamas tonight.
Leaving court, Michael Cohen was silent.
Michael, what's your message to the president? Michael, what's your message to the president?
Doing all the talking today, his lawyer Lanny Davis, and he was asked if his client is ready to tell all to special counsel Robert Mueller.
Yes, 100%.
Michael Cohen claims that just before the election, President Trump himself directed an effort to silence two women who claim to have had affairs with him. Prosecutors say they have a mountain of evidence about the hush money scheme, documents, seized electronic devices, and audio recordings made by Cohen. Also, text messages, phone records, emails, all of this on top of witness testimony. Cohen's lawyer says his client is ready to talk, and not just about payoffs, but about Russian hacking and what President Trump might have known.
Russia, if you're listening, I hope you're able to find the 30,000 emails that are missing.
Cohen's attorney now suggesting his client has information about whether Donald Trump knew in advance about the Russian hacking when Democrats' emails were later distributed by WikiLeaks.
I can tell you that Mr. Cohen has knowledge on certain subjects that should be of interest to the special counsel. Knowledge about the computer crime of hacking and whether or not Mr. Trump knew ahead of time about that crime and even cheered it on.
Cohen has pleaded guilty to 8 felony charges, but there was no agreement to cooperate with the federal government. He's hoping that sharing information with investigators now will help reduce his prison sentence.
Would Michael Cohen accept a presidential pardon? Does he want one?
He will not and does not want anything from Donald Trump. After working for him all of those years, he came to the recognition that Donald Trump is a president unsuitable to have that office.
So let's get to Tom Llamas with us again tonight. And Tom, Michael Cohen is scheduled to be sentenced on December 12th. It would appear tonight he's very eager to talk with both state and federal investigators. And you have news this evening about a new subpoena.
That's right, a new development there, David. This has to do with the Donald J. Trump Foundation. You'll remember that was the president's charitable organization. In June, they were sued by the New York Attorney General, accused of self-dealing and illegally coordinating with the Trump campaign. According to the New York Times, Michael Cohen received that subpoena today, and he called state investigators back, David, asking them when they were ready to talk. David?
Tom Llamas with us again tonight. Thank you, Tom. Next this evening here, new developments in the murder of that college student in Iowa. The suspect was in court for the first time today. Prosecutors say he kidnapped and killed Molly Tibbetts while she was jogging, dumping her body in a cornfield. Authorities say he was in the U.S. illegally and that he used a false ID to get work. ABC's Alex Perez from Iowa again tonight.
Mr. Rivera, did you kill Molly Tibbetts?
Tonight, the man accused of murdering Molly Tibbetts arriving at an Iowa courthouse. Shackled and escorted by deputies, 24-year-old Christian Rivera facing a judge.
Mr. Rivera, you have been charged with murder in the first degree.
Rivera listening to the charges through a translator, his girlfriend and family in the courtroom. Authorities say Rivera confessed to abducting and killing Molly Tibbetts while she was out for a jog, dumping her body in a cornfield. Investigators say they cracked the case using surveillance footage showing the suspect's car near Molly during her run.
Frame by frame and in real-time motion, and eventually saw Molly on the video, led us to Mr. Rivera, identifying the vehicle.
According to investigators, Rivera, who's from Mexico, was in the country illegally. Tonight, the owner of the farm where he worked saying Rivera lied.
What we learned in the last 24 hours is that our employee was not who he said he was.
The farm now says when they hired Rivera 4 years ago, they screened him through an older system instead of Homeland Security's E-Verify.
And Alex Perez back with us tonight. And Alex, tonight Christian Rivera remains behind bars.
That's right, David. The judge ordered he be held on a $5 million cash bond. We are also hearing from Molly's family tonight. They issued a statement thanking the public for their love and saying their hearts are broken. David?
Alex Perez with us again tonight. Thank you, Alex. We're going to move on here this evening into that monster hurricane now closing in on Hawaii. The state of emergency already in effect at this hour. Hurricane Lane, as seen from space, now a massive Category 4 storm. Winds up to 155 miles per hour. More than 1.5 million families and tourists there now bracing for this storm, and ABC's Gio Benitez is right there in Hawaii.
Tonight, residents rushing to stores and gas stations, loading up on food, water, and gas. As Lane, a major Category 4 hurricane, barrels toward Hawaii.
Right now forecast to stay close to the entire state.
Hurricane hunters flying inside Lane's eye as the storm reached Category 5 strength. Schools closed. This search and rescue team from San Diego flying in to help.
This Hurricane Lane is a dangerous storm, and we got to take it very, very seriously.
Many tourists in the middle of vacations here caught off guard.
We are not prepared for this. We are going to go to the airport, and we're going to hopefully get on a flight to Maui tomorrow.
And Gio Benitez joins us live tonight from Honolulu. A sunny day there, but don't be fooled by that because officials are warning people to prepare, and they're warning them to pay attention to the hours on this thing, the timing, because time is running out.
That's right, David. The Big Island will start feeling those tropical storm conditions in just a few hours. We're talking about the possibility of 20-foot waves, devastating flooding, and perhaps even some landslides. David.
Gio Benitez with us tonight from Hawaii. Let's get right to Chief Meteorologist Ginger Zee. You've been tracking this storm all day. Where is it right now?
This is a hurricane, David, by the way, that has already made history. It is the closest a Category 5 hurricane has ever made it to Hawaii. So that's a big news, but it's also a Category 4 that's right near it. You can see nearly dwarfing those islands at this point, moving west-northwest at 8 miles per hour. It still has max sustained winds of easily 155 miles per hour. Now, gusts, these are impacts, right, of 75 plus, rain in the 10 to 20 inch range, and waves 10 to 20 feet. The path takes it very close to Honolulu. Friday into Saturday, that's when we'll see the heaviest impacts on the islands farthest west. David.
Right. Ginger Zee with us tonight, and we'll be tracking this through the coming hours. Ginger, thank you. We do turn overseas tonight and to Afghanistan and the new front in America's longest war. Our team learning weeks ago of initial U.S. talks with the Taliban now. Tonight, our senior foreign correspondent, Ian Pannell, taking us inside one of the most dangerous prisons in the world, right there in Afghanistan, filled with Taliban prisoners. And right through those prison bars, telling Ian their message for the U.S.
Tonight, we get exclusive access inside the most notorious jail in Afghanistan. Polichaki prison is dangerous, overcrowded, home to thousands of death row terrorists, home to America's sworn enemy for the last 17 years, the Taliban. You can see the prisoners shackled to one another.
We're heading into one of the main prisons in Afghanistan today that houses 4,000 convicted terrorists. We're going here to try to talk to the Taliban, but the prison guards are worried. They've told us it's not safe inside.
The inmates approach us from the other side of the bars. Men who've attacked and killed US and Afghan soldiers and civilians. Among them, Dr. Manan, a quiet English-speaking doctor from Afghanistan, also a hardcore Taliban fighter.
What would you like to say to the American people, to the fathers and mothers of soldiers who've been killed, to the American government?
American soldiers would leave our country. We have the ability to fight up to 30 years.
You won't stop?
No, we will not stop the fight against American soldiers.
Other prisoners are eager to talk. Gulbuddin says he has no problem with other Afghans, just the foreigners who invaded. the Americans. These exclusive pictures were taken for ABC News from inside Taliban territory. They now have control or influence over more than half the country, with their own government.